Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
An episode of Inner-Sanctum-Mysteries as we go back to May 16th, 1949. This episode is entitled The Unburied Dead.
Good evening, friends. This is your host to welcome you through the creaking door into the Inner Sanctum. Come in and let me introduce some new guests. Now first, here's Merwin, the mathematical murderer. Merwin says that the shortest distance between two ears is a straight cut across the throat. This geometric goon divided 3 victims with his knife, but to me it just doesn't add up. Now meet Edgar, the electrical killer. At school, this character was voted the most likely to shock 'em dead. Edgar's wife was a dull dame, so he plugged her into a wall socket. Now you should see the way she sparkles. Yes, sir. Now she's the light of the party.
Tonight's Inner Sanctum Mystery, The Unburied Dead, was written by Ed Adamson and Bob Sloan, and stars Miss Leslie Woods in the role of Claire with Everett Sloan as Max.
Say, folks, if you hear a blood-curdling scream, it's just our pet vampire Oscar howling outside. But don't worry, you may be lucky this evening because some nights Oscar just doesn't give a hoot. Well, now I'll take my spade and uncover tonight's terrible treasure. A short distance from the railroad tracks, the man and the woman stand in the rain, looking down into the grave. The woman searches her mind, diving deep into the past for the strange, unremembered events.
If I could only remember. If I could only go back beyond that day on the ship. Then I would know who I am, who I really am. He stands here next to me and says I buried a man in that grave. A man I murdered. That day on the ship, that's the day I woke up and found myself in this nightmare. That day on the ship. I was on the promenade deck, resting in a steamer chair. I must have fallen asleep, and when I woke up, I had an odd, dizzy feeling. I started to get up out of my chair, and then I heard her voice for the first time.
May I help you, dear?
What?
May I help? I've been watching. You seem to be ill.
Oh, well, I was feeling a little under the weather, but I'm all right now.
Are you sure?
Yes, thank you. I'll just have my...
Well, what's the trouble?
My husband, he's gone.
Now, you mustn't excite yourself.
Well, he was sitting right here next to me where you are now.
You're mistaken.
Oh, no,
There
I'm not.
wasn't any man sitting next to you. I've been in this chair since this morning.
Well, that's just not true. Ralph was here.
Look, you're ill. I'd better take you to the ship's doctor.
No, please.
But you're not well.
I know what I'm saying. My husband was sitting in that chair, and I've got to find him.
Your husband isn't on this boat.
That's a lie. He is, too.
Now, why would I want to lie to you?
Well, I don't know, but you're trying to hide something. He's disappeared, and you're trying to hide it from me.
You're just upset. You don't remember.
Remember? What are you talking about?
You don't remember me, do you? You don't remember that my name is Mrs. Ferris.
Ferris? I never saw you before in my life.
You don't remember that we met on the pier, that we came aboard the ship together, Mrs. Denson.
Denson? My name isn't Denson. You're mistaken. My name is Kramer. Claire Kramer. And excuse me, I've got to find my husband.
He isn't on this boat.
He is.
Mrs. Denson, look at the dress you're wearing.
This isn't my dress. It's black. I never wear black.
Don't you remember telling me that your husband is dead?
My head started to spin. And then I felt a sharp pain as I tumbled into a bottomless pit. When I came to, I was lying in a bed in a room that was all white. And next to the bed, there was a table with surgical instruments on it.
All right, here, drink this.
Who are you?
I'm the ship's physician, Dr. Ferris.
Ferris. Her name was Ferris.
My wife. She brought you here. You had an accident.
An accident?
Yes, you fainted up on deck.
You're in it, too, you and your wife. Let me out of here.
No, first you must rest.
No, let me out of here. I've got to find my husband, Ralph.
Your husband is dead. You told my wife he died 6 months ago.
No, I didn't. This is a trick.
Now,
You're trying
Mrs. Denson.
My name isn't Denson. It's Kramer. What are you two trying to do to me? Why don't you let me find my husband?
Please take this medicine. It will...
Oh, no! Oh, no, I am not going to take it. I'm not.
Now, try to understand, Mrs. Denson. I only want to help.
No, you don't. You're lying just like your wife did. You're trying to keep me away from Ralph, but he's on this ship someplace. I can prove it. He was with me when we came aboard in New York.
It's just your nerves, Mrs. Denson. This boat didn't sail from New York. It left Liverpool 5 days ago.
Liverpool? 5 days ago? Oh, no, that isn't true.
We dock in New York tomorrow. Here. Here's your passport book. Look at it. Your passport with your name.
Well, there. There, that proves it. That picture, that's not me. That's another woman.
Here. Look in this mirror. You see?
My face. What have you done to me? What happened to my face?
Oh, nothing. When you fainted up on deck, you fell and cut your chin. I had to put in a few stitches.
Oh, no, it's my whole face. It's different. You've changed it. You've changed my whole face. I was lost. A woman with a different face. Lost in time and identity. I found out that the ship was to arrive in New York. Well, then where had I been? What had happened to me, and where was my husband, Ralph? The questions hammered against my brain until it ached. The next day, the ship docked in New York. I went straight to my house. I had no key, so I rang the bell and waited. The door was opened by a large, red-faced woman. A woman I had never seen before.
Yes?
Who are you?
What is it your business?
Answer me. Tell me who you are.
Why, I'm the housekeeper.
Don't lie to me. We never had a housekeeper.
Now, look.
What are you doing here? Who hired you? Oh, just a moment. It was Dr. Ferris and his wife. They had you come here, didn't they?
I don't see why I should answer your questions.
Well, you better answer them. If you don't, I'll call the police.
The police? Huh. That's a good idea. Why don't you call them?
I will. But first, you're going to tell me where my husband is.
Your husband? Well, you must have the wrong address.
Well, this is 29 Pine Street, isn't it?
That's right.
And Mr. Ralph Kramer lives here.
Yes, Mr. Kramer lives here.
Oh, now they'll believe me. Now they'll see that he isn't dead.
What are you talking about?
Now I can prove it was all a trick to keep me away from him.
Look, I don't know who you are.
Well, I'll tell you who I am. I'm Mrs. Ralph Kramer.
What?
That's right, Mrs. Kramer. Where's my husband?
Maybe you'd better call the police after all. The police can settle a thing like this.
Settle? What are you trying to say?
Just this. Mr. Kramer is being married Tuesday.
What?
He's being married Tuesday. Mr. Kramer doesn't have a wife yet.
I left the house and walked blindly down the street. She said Ralph was being married Tuesday. She said he didn't have a wife. Well, if he didn't have a wife, then who was I? Who was this person who wore black? This person with a different face? This person with my brain? When I came to the corner of the block, a car stopped suddenly in front of me.
Hey, lady, you ought to look where you're going.
Oh, what?
Another wrench and I would have hit. Hey, you all right?
Yes, I'm all right.
You look kind of funny, like you were sick.
I'm all right.
Can I give you a lift?
Oh, well, I'm going downtown, yes, to the Wentworth building.
Hop in. I'm going right past it.
Thank you.
Wentworth building, huh?
Yes, my husband's office is there.
I see. What were you doing at 29 Pine Street?
29 How did you know I was there?
I was watching you.
What?
Just keeping my eyes open.
You were following me. You purposely tried to run me over.
Oh, no. I just wanted to get you in the car.
You're in with them, with Dr. Ferris and his wife.
Dr. Ferris? Never heard of him.
If you don't stop this car and let me out, I'll scream.
Go ahead. Scream your lungs out.
There's a policeman down at the next corner. He'll hear me.
You don't need the cop on the corner. You're talking to one right now.
What?
Plainclothes Homicide Division. Keith is the name.
Are you a policeman, really?
Uh-huh, really.
Well, then why were you following me?
Following certain people's my business. Your face looked kind of familiar.
Oh, then you know me.
Think I do.
Oh, thank heaven you know who I am. Now I can prove that I live at 29 Pine Street.
You live at 29 Pine? Who are you kidding? That's Ralph Kramer's place.
Yes, and I'm Claire Kramer.
How's that?
I'm Ralph Kramer's wife.
Try again, lady, and this time no lying. This time I want to hear the truth.
But I am telling the truth. Why don't you believe me?
Why? Because I happen to know where Claire Kramer is right now.
I'm Claire.
I saw her grave just the other day.
Her grave?
Mm-hmm. She's in the same cemetery as my brother. Claire's been buried there for 6 years.
Keith was too glib. His remarks were too sure. As if he'd been hired to say them. They were all in it together, trying to frighten me, trying to keep me away from Ralph. I was almost sure Keith wasn't a detective, but I had to be positive. I had to catch him in a lie. By the time I got out to the cemetery, it was dark. I walked along the deserted path, flashing my light as I passed the gravestones.
Hello? I've been waiting here for you.
I turned my flashlight on his face. It was Keith. His lips were twisted in a sly smile.
Is this what you were looking for?
I sent the beam of light in the direction he pointed. The shock ripped through me like a knife of fire. What I saw wasn't believable.
Well, there it is. You satisfied now, lady?
It was a tombstone. And the letters carved on it said, Claire Kramer, died May 13th, 1943.
May 16th, 1949, Inner-Sanctum-Mysteries on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
Hyman Brown continued so much of his great history in the 1940s and 50s in classic radio when he carried it into the CBS Radio Mystery Theater in the 70s into the 80s. But now we're going to hear probably his best-known work, Inner-Sanctum-Mysteries, as we continue with the story from May 16th, 1949, The Unburied Dead.
That Claire Kramer is kind of dumb, isn't she? Doesn't know herself from a corpse in the ground. Still at that, you know, it's rugged to come face to face with your own tombstone. Yeah, it's enough to kill you. Claire's what you might call a real dead-end doll. And hey, talking about her face, looks like somebody cut up her nose to spite her life. You think Claire's been having a tough time, do you? Well, hold on to your coffin handles and see how things can go from bad to hearse.
I stared at the tombstone, not believing what I saw. The words on it said I was dead, that I died 6 years ago. I I turned to the man who called himself Detective Keith.
You satisfied now, lady?
It can't be. I'm alive. Can't you see that I'm alive? I'm not buried there. That's someone else in that grave.
Come on, you're going with me.
Where are you taking me?
You'll find out soon enough.
But what do you want with me? What have I done?
Killed a man, maybe.
What?
Here. Look at this police circular. Found it in my car a minute after I let you go.
But...
I knew I saw you someplace before. Now go ahead, look at it.
Wanted for murder?
Mm-hmm. And the picture there is yours, or your twin sisters.
That's not possible.
Come on, let's go.
Wait, can't you understand? I'm not this woman in the circular.
Pictures don't lie.
I'm not her. I may look
your
like her, but I'm
fingerprints
not.
will settle it. We've got her fingerprints on the circular. Now all I have to do to check is get yours. Now let's go. Hey, wait!
I wrenched myself loose from his grip.
Stop!
I started down the path between the graves.
Stop, you fool! Stop right
I kept running. One of his bullets burned through my left arm with a terrible tearing pain. In a moment, Keith was standing over me.
I wasn't smart. The next shot, and I would have killed you. Now, come on, get up.
The flashlight was still in my right hand. When he bent over to pull me up, I pounded it against the side of his head. Oh. He tumbled sideways to the ground, unconscious. Then I got up and ran. I ran as fast as I could. I took the side roads back to town. I ran and then I walked. I walked and walked, holding my wounded arm with the other, losing blood all the time. Then I saw the shingle outside of the house. Dr. Bennett. By the time I staggered into his office, I was nearly fainting. But I was lucky the doctor was alone.
There you are, Mrs. Kramer. You'll be all right now.
Thank you, Dr. Bennett.
You still haven't told me how you happened to get that wound.
Oh, no, I didn't. Well, I was carrying a jar.
No.
And...
Mrs. Kramer, it wasn't a jar.
But
The bullet was still lodged in your arm. Who shot you?
I don't know his name.
I have to report this, you know. You better tell me the truth.
I am telling you the truth. Doctor, do you know anything about fingerprints?
A little. Why?
Well, look. Look at the fingerprints on this circular.
Mm-hmm.
And now, look at the ones on my hand. Would you say they're the same?
Yes, I would. Of course, I'm no expert.
Neither am I. But I can see now those are my fingerprints on the circular. The same scar on the right thumb. Somebody's done a perfect job of making me look like a murderer.
Mrs. Kramer, I'm afraid I must report this to the police and let it go at that.
I couldn't let him do it. He had his back to me. I lifted the paperweight from his desk. Just as I raised my hand, he turned.
Mrs. Kramer, don't!
I struck him hard on the head. He dropped to the floor, and I bent over him. As I listened to his uneven breathing, a roaring thought drove through my mind. Kill him, the thought thundered. You are a murderer. Kill him, kill him. I brought the paperweight up, and I struck him again. And he was dead. Now I really was what they made me. A murderer. I had to hide. I couldn't go to see my husband, Ralph, until I was sure I'd be safe. I went to a town across the state line, and I hired a room in a cheap hotel. For 3 days, I only left the room to eat. It was on the 4th day that it happened. I had just come back from dinner and closed the door behind me.
Hello?
Oh. As he got up from the chair and came toward me, I reached for the gun in my purse.
You won't need that gun, Claire. There isn't a cop within a mile of this place.
Who are you?
Don't you remember little old Max? You know, Claire, I never thought I'd see you again. Then when I read about it in the papers, I knew you'd come to this flea bag to hole up. Why did you do it?
I couldn't help myself. He was going to turn me over to the police.
Oh, you got me wrong. I'm not talking about the doctor. I mean Steve.
Steve?
Hey, what's the matter with you? You act like you're off your rocker. I don't blame you for knocking off Steve. That louse had it coming.
Steve?
Yeah, he had it coming to him good. Hey, what are you looking at me that way for?
I'm just trying to think.
Why, you should have done some thinking before you buried Steve's body where you did. They found it 2 days later.
I've got to get out of here.
Don't be a chump. You'll get nabbed.
I've got to take that chance. Have you got a car?
Yeah, sure I got a car, but you take advice from little old
If you're
Max.
my friend, really my friend, you'll help me.
Well, I was always on your team, Claire. Name it. Where do you want to go?
Back to Mason City. I've got to see my husband. We drove back across the state line to Mason City, to my house on Pine Street. Max waited in the car. The house was dark, except for a light in the study. I stood on the terrace outside the French doors, and Ralph was sitting in the room alone, reading a book. I opened the doors quietly. I tried not to frighten him. Ralph? Ralph?
Who's there? So dark here I can't...
It's Claire. I've come back.
Claire?
I've come back, Ralph.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Oh, darling, darling, don't you recognize me?
Get out of this house. Get out before I call the
Ralph,
police.
listen to me.
I said get
I've
out.
got to make you understand I'm your wife.
My wife is dead. Now either you get out
Ralph,
or...
listen to me. You mustn't believe what they've been telling you. They wanted you to think that I was dead, but believe me, I am your wife. I'm Claire.
Claire is dead. I've never seen you before, never in all my life. Claire Kramer died 6 years ago.
Oh, then you're in on it, too.
In on it? What are you talking about?
Tomorrow is Tuesday, isn't it? The housekeeper told me. That's the day you're being married.
That's right. What about it?
Now I know. Now I understand. You never did love me, never really. Now I know who's to blame for all those terrible things I've been through. You! Put that phone down.
I never argue with a lady. Especially when she has a gun in her hand.
It's all so funny, isn't it? You had it all planned, didn't you?
May 16th, 1949, Inner Sanctum Mysteries, the conclusion next on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But first...
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you.
And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required.
Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary.
800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Inner Sanctum Mysteries and the Unburied Dead from May 16th, 1949.
You wanted to marry someone else. You wanted me out of the way. Well, then why didn't you have him kill me? It would have been better for me to be dead than to be like this. It would have been wonderful to be really dead.
I don't know what's in your mind.
What's in my mind? I'll tell you. Listen. Thank me, Ralph. Thank me for being kinder than you were to me. Max came into the house when he heard the shots. I had him carry the body to the car. As we headed out of town, a heavy rain started to fall. I had no destination in mind, but an unseen force seemed to control my hand on the wheel. It guided me around one turn after another, until at last we came to a deserted stretch along a railroad track. I stopped the car and got out. Then I took the jack handle from the trunk and started to dig up the soft earth.
Hey, Claire, what do you think you're doing?
There's no time for questions. Help me. I'm going to bury the body here.
Are you nuts?
We've got to hide his body, Max.
What's not here? Don't you remember this place? Don't it look familiar to you?
Familiar? Yes, I think it does, but I can't quite remember.
Oh, if you don't remember this place, you really blew your top.
Will you stop talking like that and tell me what's wrong with this place? Why can't I bury him here?
Because if you remembered, you'd know it was the same place you buried Steve.
If I could only remember. If I could only go back beyond that day on the ship. Then I would know who I am. Who I really am. He stands there next to me and says I buried a man in that grave. A man I murdered. Oh, if I could only remember.
Come on, Claire. We gotta get out of here.
Max, you've got to tell me about Steve. Why did I kill Steve?
You killed Steve just the way you knocked off that other guy tonight. Maybe he had it coming to him, too. That's your business.
But you didn't tell me why I killed Steve.
Steve Benson was your husband.
Oh, Max. When was the first time you saw me?
The first time? Oh, let's see. 5 years ago.
And I looked as I look now?
Sure. You told me you just had a plastic done because your face was burned. Only between you and me, little old Max didn't fall for your gag about the burn.
Burned? Burned, that was true. My face was burned.
Okay, so it was burned.
Burned, yes, now I remember. The boat was one day out of New York. Ralph and I were up on the deck when the fire broke out. I lost him and then something struck my head. I remember the name of the boat, too, the Trigania.
Hey, that's that ship that was sunk a way back.
Yes. Yes, a way back, Max. 6 years ago.
Well, then somebody must have picked you out of the water.
The water? There were charred bodies in that water. Charred beyond recognition. They listed me as one of the dead.
Oh, I guess you had what they call that amnesia business, huh?
That day I woke up from that nap in the deck chair. That's the day I stopped being Claire Denson and became Claire Kramer again. I was a murderess, and I never knew it. Ralph thought I was dead. He really thought so when I killed him.
Hey, Claire, the cops. Come on, we gotta get out of here.
I've already gotten out, Max. I'm dead. Dead and buried.
Oh, stop talking that crazy talk. Come on, before it's too late.
It's already 6 years too late, Max.
Hey, you can't skip the cops by going over the tracks. Come on back, Claire, and get in the car. Claire, you can't make it that way. The train! Look out!
Oh, the cops finally got Claire on those railroad ties. Dead in her tracks. Now she'll have a grave she can call her own. You see what happens, though, when you get amnesia? You forget the people you leave around dead. Oh, by the way, for you forgetful wives, there's a moral to tonight's untidy tale. It's from the pen of that absent-minded philosopher, Scatterbad Brains. Always remember, the quickest way to a man's heart is through his chest with a bullet.
May 16th, 1949, Inner Sanctum Mysteries on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just 2 of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, this is episode 29 of The Adventures of Jungle Jim, as it was originally broadcast May 16th, 1936, and The Purple Triangle.
Presenting The Adventures of Jungle Jim. Last week, Shanghai Lil won Jungle Jim's admiration as a skillful flyer when she threw the Purple Triangle plane off her trail by faking a spin. Then she flew above her former pursuers and shot them down in flames. Later on a steamship bound for Shanghai, Lynn Chalmers reported to her father that she overheard a Chinese voice declared Jungle Jim was dead. Despite the Reverend's warning against eavesdropping, Lynn left their cabin to find out what happened to Jim. The thrilling adventures of Jungle Jim are pictured each Sunday in the Comic Weekly, the world's greatest pictorial supplement of humor and adventure. The Comic Weekly, each page printed in full colors, is distributed everywhere as an integral part of your Hearst Sunday newspaper. And now we continue our story. The boat carrying the Reverend Chalmers and his daughter steams toward Shanghai. Lynn spies the purser coming along the deck and decides to do a little sleuthing before going back to the door of cabin 307.
Oh, purser.
Good evening, Miss Chalmers. Something I can do to make you and your father more comfortable?
Thank you, but everything's fine so far. I didn't want to ask you for any more service, just some information.
Oh, certainly, miss. What did you wish to know?
I saw a Chinese at dinner tonight who interested me. My steward told me he occupies cabin 307. Could you tell me who he is?
307, I see. Oh, of course, yes, it's Lin Fu. Prince Lin Fu. He traces his ancestry back to the first rulers of the earliest dynasty.
He does?
Oh, yes. You wouldn't think it to look at him, would you?
No, I should say not.
The young ladies who are accustomed to thinking of princes is quite the romantic-looking young man. Tall, slender, handsome, not fat, and, well, shall we say, unattractive?
Unattractive is putting it much too mildly. Repulsive is the only word that describes Lin Fu.
Then may I ask why you're so interested in him?
Why, because he is so repulsive-looking. And because he's traveling first cabin.
No, Lin Fu has plenty of money. And I'm sure I don't know where he gets it. He never seems to have any business connections. And he travels on our line quite a bit.
Well, a prince usually is wealthy, isn't he, purser?
A regular up-to-date prince, yes, but never a prince in name only. Bless you, miss, while Lin Fu is really a prince as far as lineage goes, it doesn't mean a thing today, because China's no longer a monarchy.
So that's it. That's why...
Eh? Oh, I beg your pardon? That's why what?
Nothing, purser. Thank you. You've more than satisfied my womanly curiosity.
Oh, very good, miss. Good night, miss.
Good night, purser. Well, Mr. Lin Fu, I want to find out how you happen to know so much about Jungle Jim. Cabin 307, here I come.
Meanwhile, Shanghai Lil's plane carrying Jim and Kolo roars on along the China coast. Suddenly, Lil's voice is heard over the headset.
Jim, look down there.
What city is that, Lil?
Either Wenchao or Ningpo. Tell you in a minute.
Say, we sure haven't wasted any time. Won't be long now, Kolo.
Me all same glad one, Jim.
I'll bet you are. Well, Kolo, remember you asked to come along with me.
Yes, it one. Kolo no. Me all same glad come. All same glad go down earth some more.
To tell you the truth, Kolo, I'll be darn glad myself. I'm nearly crazy with the suspense, waiting to find out what the Council of Shanghai wants with me.
Jim, that was Ningpo. We're coming to the Bay of Hangzhou. We'll be over it in a minute.
Good. It can't show up too soon for me. That means we're almost at Shanghai.
That's right, Jim.
What's the plan, Lil, after we get there?
You land at the airport and go straight from there to the foreign settlement.
That suits me fine.
There's Hangzhou Bay down there.
Yes, sir, and does it look good, too? What's that island over there, do you know?
The big one right under it now is called Chustan Island. That's the only charted island on my map, so don't ask me anything more about an island.
Okay. But there's plenty about the Purple Triangle business that I want to ask you. You know, I've been trying to figure it out ever since we left Burawani, but it just doesn't add up to anything. Tell me what it's all about, will you?
You'll find out for yourself before long, Jim.
Yeah, I know. But it may be pleasanter and a whole lot less trouble if you tell me.
I can't tell you any more than I have already.
You said you knew all about the Purple Triangle gang.
That's right. I do.
Then why can't you tell me what you know?
I can't tell you that either. There's a special reason. You'll have to take my word for it.
Yeah, I guess I will. When you won't talk, you won't talk. I found that out.
I'll say this much, Jim. It's a good thing we prevented those Purple Triangle scouts from getting back to the Master Prince.
I don't suppose there's any use in my asking why.
No, you'll just have to take my word for that, too.
Say, what are you going to do with your Bat Kingdom, Lil? I just happened to think of it.
I don't know exactly what I'll do. Maybe I'll find another overseer to take Jacques Laval's place. Go ahead from where I left off.
You won't if the Reverend Chalmers has anything to say about it.
Oh, he won't have anything to say if I make up my mind to start up the Bat Kingdom again.
Quan Jim, no can see water down there. Water all seem gone.
What? Well, I'll be darned. You're right, Kolo. It looks like we're above the clouds. Lil.
Yes?
I didn't notice we were climbing. What's our altitude now?
We haven't been climbing. What gave you that idea?
I can't see the Bay of Hangzhou anymore. It's all covered by clouds.
Good heavens, that's not clouds, Jim. That's fog.
Huh?
If it doesn't break up, we're liable to fly right over Shanghai and lose our way. Keep your eyes open for the first sight of an opening in the fog.
We will. Kolo, look on your side. Be sure to tell me the minute you see land or water.
All right, Quan Jim. Me look.
I'm flying by the instruments. Can't take my eyes off the panel. See anything but that terrible fog?
Not on my side. What do you see, Kolo?
All same here. Nothing.
Kolo can't see a thing on his side either, Lil.
I'll have to take a chance and drop down a little way. Here goes. Any sign of Shanghai now?
Not yet. Kolo, can you see land?
No, Quan Jim. All same here. Only see sky.
There doesn't seem to be any break in the fog yet, Lil.
Keep looking, Jim. We ought to be almost over Shanghai now. We mustn't miss it.
I'm watching closely, Lil. What are you going to do? Go lower?
I don't dare. No telling how low the fog is hanging. I'm going to keep on my course and trust to luck that it will burn off enough to show us where we are.
Here's hoping your luck is good. How's the gasoline holding out?
I've just changed to the emergency tank. We had enough to get us to Shanghai, but in this fog...
Let's talk about something else. Know any funny stories?
Quan Jim, look. What is it, Kolo? Sky open. Look.
So it is. Lil.
What is it, Jim?
There's a hole in the fog now. Look down, quick.
That's Shanghai below us.
Hooray, we've made it.
Save the celebrating until later. Look down now.
The fog's closed in again. Lil, what are we going to do? Circle around until it burns off?
I hope not, but I'll circle around until I can get on the beam of the airport and get them to guide us down. Disconnect your headset, Jim. I'm going to tune in my two-way radio now. Can't talk to you for a while. Calling Shanghai Airport. Calling Shanghai Airport. Calling Shanghai Airport. Can you hear me, Shanghai? Shanghai Airport. I need your help to guide me in. Can you hear me, Shanghai? Where are you, Shanghai? Answer me.
Meanwhile, on the boat bound for Shanghai, the Reverend Chalmers hears his cabin door opened.
Lynn, is that you, Lynn?
Nein, this isn't your daughter. This is your doctor.
Oh, I must have dropped off to sleep for a minute. She just went out, and I thought she was coming back.
Mm-hmm. How are you feeling tonight, Reverend?
Better, I think. Thank you, Doctor.
That is good. We want you to feel better all the time. Well, we just turn on the lights here and see for ourselves.
Doctor, is my watch going? Is it that time?
Why, yes, sure, certainly.
But where can my daughter be? She left nearly an hour ago to go up on deck. She said she'd be right back. Haven't you seen her up there?
No. As a matter of fact, I haven't been up on deck all evening.
Oh, I wonder what could have happened to her.
Oh, you mustn't get so excited, my dear Reverend. It isn't good for your sickness. You must be calm.
No, you don't understand. She heard a Chinese plotting a revolution.
Is that so? Here, let me see your tongue.
Doctor, you must go search the ship for her. Heaven only knows what may have happened to her.
Now. Take it easy, Reverend. No doubt she has met one of those handsome young officers and they are talking in the moonlight.
No. She's in danger, I tell you. I have a feeling that my daughter is in danger. That Chinese. I can't remember his name. He's a revolutionary, and he'll stop at nothing.
What cabin does he occupy?
Lynn told me that, too.
She said it was, I can't remember now. But I know she's in danger.
You must have had a bad dream, Reverend. Here, take one of these tablets. It will put you to sleep so you won't have any more bad dreams.
No, it was no bad dream, Doctor. I'm telling you exactly what happened. She heard this Chinese talking about overthrowing the government now that Jim Bradley is dead.
Yeah, of course. Good. Aye, sir. Come in here, please. Yes, Doctor. I'm afraid I'm going to need a little help. All of my patients sleep while I prepare the hypodermic. Yes, Doctor.
You think I'm delirious, but I'm not, Doctor. I'm telling you the truth. My daughter is in danger.
All right, Stewart. Hold him down while I give him this hypodermic to put him to sleep.
While at that very moment in cabin 307, a fat, repulsive-looking Chinese is in a huddle with a fellow countryman.
So, my friend, you think our revolution cannot fail, eh?
That is right, Lin Po.
You may be right. It is indeed gratifying to know Jungle Jim Bradley is at bottom of sea.
And now is our chance, Lin Po.
Perhaps. If Mask Prince agrees with us, my friend, you must remember we cannot move without his approval and order.
But, Lin Po...
There are no buts, my friend. We cannot act without orders from leader. Mask Prince alone knows exact moment to strike first blow. He is all-powerful, all-wise. What was that?
I heard nothing, Lin Po.
We are being spied upon. Give me that gun. There is someone outside door. Watch. You may be right, my friend. Perhaps the time has come, as you say. Oh! Begging pardon, missy. But eavesdropping is most unhealthy.
I wasn't
I suggest you step in here.
But I only...
Quiet. I have you covered with gun, missy. I assure you, it will be most unfortunate if you cause me to use it. Step into this cabin.
What is going to happen to Lynn Chalmers? Is she in the hands of the Purple Triangle Gang? The dramatization you have just heard was based on incidents pictured in full-color action pictures of Jungle Jim appearing in the Comic Weekly. The big Comic Weekly distributed with your Hearst Sunday newspaper everywhere. In the Comic Weekly, there is a feature called Heroes of American History. It pictures the careers of great men and women in the story of our country. You will also find all the famous characters who live in the world of color pictures. There's Bringing Up Father, The Little King, Skippy, Barney Google, Toots and Casper, the Katzenjammer Kids, and many, many others. Don't forget our date next week. Same time, same station, for a continuation of the adventures of Jungle Jim.
May 16th, 1936, The Adventures of Jungle Jim on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank you for making us a part of your day. Would you thank this radio station and support their advertisers? It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around here on your favorite radio station. And if you would do me an even bigger favor, find our webpage. It's the easiest way to hear our shows. ClassicRadio.stream. There you can stream our shows on demand. You can learn more about classic radio collecting. You can find all of our social media information. You can even contact me there. ClassicRadio.stream. That is ClassicRadio.stream. Now, if you have an app you want to listen to us on, iHeartRadio, we're there, Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn. Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon, or Facebook. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. That's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks for listening. Do me a favor, tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.